So you stumbled upon our podcast.
Hope you got a lighter.
What's up? I'm Lotta Quise.
And it's your boy Quise.
Welcome
to Functional Potheads. Yo, you stopped. We had it. Perfect.
We had it.
Even with the delay.
All right. So you know what we're going to do for y'all out there so you don't have to listen to us on the struggle bus? We just going to, like, one episode, he going to say welcome to Functional Potheads. On the next episode, I'm going to say welcome to Functional Potheads.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. We be too high to try to time these things, you know what I'm saying? So what you smoking on?
Today I'm actually smoking a PAX pod. And what is it? Oh no, actually it's Space Queen. Fat Panda.
Oh, word. I like some Space Queen. I don't mind that strain from them, honestly. So I am smoking on, well, sort of, here's my situation. So I went, because I was not feeling well, like actually physically in pain. So I went to find something that was similar to, if not exactly like the effects of Blackberry Kush.
It's a few things.
And after waiting in this line, like, I was a little bit irritated trying to get this weed from him. You know what I'm saying? Because I get up there, I'm like, yo, I've got this amount of money. I'm looking for flour that does this, like boom, boom, boom. And he's like, did you know that we have a 30% discount off? Does it look like I give a fuck about your 30% discount, bro? Like,
does it fall within the, like, so a statement like that, as somebody that sells weed, a statement like that should only be important if it checks all of your boxes. You know what I mean? And you're not trying to, like, sell me on some shit. Like, don't try to force this shit on me. Like, I want what I asked for.
That's it. I want what I fucking asked for. So, I mean, I will give him credit. I've never had this company, Sessions, Premier Cannabis. Have you? Sessions?
Never even seen those guys before. You
know what I'm saying? Me either. And the product itself, it didn't look the best, but the effects was there. And I'm mad I ripped off the sticker. It was like, it's definitely a blueberry. It's a
blueberry kush or blueberry train wreck.
It's a cross. They had a QR code, and I'm mad at myself, but, well, I needed to smoke, so I just opened it and dove into it and can't find the other piece of the package, but it was a blueberry strain of theirs, and I was like, oh, everybody, I mean, even companies I've never heard of is catching on to the QR code game. So
I love trying new companies. I love just coming across a new company, like, oh, all right, see you.
So for me, I would say the trim wasn't the grow. The weed didn't look the best. There's a lot of things about it, but the effects are there. The taste isn't great. Like, it's a harsh smoke. It's not the kind of burning that you like. It's not a spicy flavor. It's not supposed to be spicy. It's just how it was grown.
Could be the flush. Could be the cure.
Could be a couple of things. So I was just like, But I got this, and I got an OG pre-roll for $20. So when you budget shopping, you get what you pay for. You know.
Yeah, you can't complain.
Exactly. So that was an eighth. I got an eighth and a full gram joint I left them a $2 tip out of $20.
Oh, you did it.
Exactly. How's weed helped you today? Or recently, I guess.
Recently? Just life, man. You know, sometimes in traffic you want to hurt somebody, and sometimes you're just like, fuck it, I'm going to roll a blunt. Yeah. And I've been taking the latter.
Are you one of those people? I'm one of those people. I just saw a meme about it that you're talking. It's like, how's life? I'm like, yeah, everything's good, man. Fuck you, bro. You go off on them. You go back like, I'm just chilling out here. It's great.
Caress my body. You got me going crazy. The light's green. Go. Turn me on.
It's because of weed.
It's like, yo, whose man's is this? You know what I mean? I try to keep it cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try not to raise my blood pressure, you know.
That's real. It's real. We are mitigating that at all costs. For me, what's helping, my homie CBD company Doses out of Tampa, I hooked up with them, tried their VIP pack. Flower was good. they have these like full spectrum CBD gummies, and I honestly took one today before smoking and everything, and it's helpful. But I've been taking them all week long. You know what I mean? I do think it helps my overall, like especially after I smoke, just my overall level of peace and calmness. I think it's there. I personally don't enjoy the flavor. Like it's a strawberry lemonade, so the flavor is good, but the weedy aftertaste for me.
Yeah, that's the thing about the hemp CBD. I found is a very, very, very strong flavor.
Yeah. So if someone can figure out how to do that right, get at me. You know what I'm saying? I would like to try them because I would keep like a large quantity.
Maybe if they like double distilled it, which you would lose like something, like probably lose even more in the process. But maybe double distillation, like it's just like maybe alcohol. I mean, like how it's like 5 times distilled and it tastes like a little better, maybe a little less
like a smoother.
Yeah.
Okay. We gonna hold on to these ideas and thoughts. Fuck around with the fuck around, because I agree with that. And if I could have like a big bucket of good tasting, for me, I thought maybe it's the process, because out here with the edibles, they have infused sugar. So like, you know, the sugar on top of just the gummy, it's sweeter, you know, so that maybe cuts the taste a bit, but still, I don't know enough about the chemistry of, you know, making candy and those type of products to speak on it. But yeah, starting with the source, the CBD, and try to make that smoother overall. Because have you tried like CBD oil drops? Do you like them?
Yeah, they are harsh. It's like a very distinct taste too. Like it's like a weedier weed taste. Like, you know what I mean? As if that's like the worst way to explain it, but like the best thing I could like think of, like it dead ass is like if weed tasted more like weed, it would taste like that.
Hemp flower. Oh man. So yeah, I'm a lot calmer now. More relaxed. I'm chilling.
You can see weed does help you a lot.
A lot. And I didn't think. I mean, I felt this way, and I speak about it. But my trip back home, a lot of people noticed it and spoke to me about it. Like people that like opinions that like really matter to me. It was some of the closest people in the world, because that's the only folks that I would see. They're just like, you seem a lot calmer, and that was coming from my best friend who's known me since the 5th grade. Like my teenage angst and peak level of anger in my life. So now, like, she's like, yeah, you seem so much calmer. Like even though things around you or circumstances hasn't necessarily changed, either for the better or worse, like you're at peace with it all. And I was like, just because I choose that every single day, and weed helps me make that choice, because angry me wasn't happy at all. And now, you know, peaceful me is happy every day, you know, like I'm not looking for it in things or whatever. It's just something like I'm creating.
Something that comes naturally.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, you found Zen. You found your Zen.
I would love to say that like that's an everyday occurrence, but it takes work, because man, my nature.
Yeah, you got to work at it. It's not something. I mean, it's something that you have to work to get, and then work to maintain. It's kind of like a garden. You know?
Look at that with the analogy, bro. Yeah. It really is, because like. They want to make fun about zodiac signs, but like my nature is true to where I fall. And I didn't recognize it when I was a kid, but like I should have, but my switch is very quick. You know what I mean? Like I'm cool, I'm calm. And then when I'm angry, it's like everything must be destroyed in like every single thing. I don't care what it is. I don't care if we friend, foe, whatever. Everybody's an enemy at this point in time. And like, then I hated myself afterwards for it. So now I can see what will make me flip. Like I'm so calm that I can see, oh, that's gonna make me flip. I'm gonna walk away from that. I'm good, because I don't want to be mad at myself for the things I thought I rightfully should have said.
Yeah, that's something that like pretty much everybody probably has to work on at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're a human, you have to kind of work on like reining that shit in. I mean, being able to sit yourself down, give yourself the short of it. Like, hey, man, cut the shit.
Cut it out. And with that, we'll take a quick break.
The Baker's Man Collective presents.
And we're back. Thank you guys for being here with us today. And we're going to toss it right into cannabis news. Recently in cannabis news.
What I got is the Washington Equity Bill, which honestly was approved earlier this year, like in March. The House Bill 2870, they had already approved that stuff, but I guess it's supposed to go into effect in June.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure if it got pushed back or not, but either way.
Yeah, more than likely, everything has been like pushed back as far as government, goes.
Exactly.
With COVID, so.
And it's taken a while to get to the news because this article came out in August, on August 6th, just overall surmising like what's actually happening. And I do like MJ Biz Daily for their news and the journalists that they have. They could, stand to speak to a couple of other folks, but
yeah, they do.
It's still
some of the same sources, but still good source. Man.
Exactly.
I like Beard Bros.
Yeah, man, I like them a lot. I like
Beard Bros.
I consume them quite a bit, but mostly through their IG page because I like that they post them all the way out, so I don't necessarily have to go on the website if I don't have time. Like I'm still getting. I probably read Beard Bros every day. And MJ Biz, what I want to see what's actually happening, less on a smaller level, you know what I mean? Like less on a cultural level and more on like a business level. Use them normal because they go to legislative things and gets really into the sort of the facts. So I like that explanation. But if I'm talking like day to day, what that means to the consumer, whatever, Beer Bros is great. So basically, this House bill will create a task force to provide applications and process applications for people who either are businesses that are either 51% ownership of the business, that person has lived at least 5 years of the past 10 years in a disproportionately impacted area, or 51% of the ownership of the business is by someone who's been convicted of a marijuana offense or who has a family member that has, which is like, all right, I feel pretty good rules, you know what I'm saying? Like, not
only because it's like, oh well, we can't just say just black people because it'd be like, and like wouldn't be an all-inclusive bill. So like, I feel like that's.
But then you got to think about it, like the disproportionate like areas of Washington. Where are those? And are there black people still in those areas? And do those black people have a business? Some, but
right? So flip the whole shit. You lived in a disproportionate area
before
it became gentrified. So you moved to an area that isn't considered disproportionate.
Nope.
Because that's
what I'm saying.
Like, the rent is lower than the place that was just gentrified. So how does that work out? Like, and you did that a couple years, and now you're acclimated to spending even more of your pay on your living situation. Like, is that still not disproportionate? Like, you're spending a disproportionate amount of your fucking earnings on your living. But
okay. We're not quite sure. I don't know what you're talking about. But this article does a great point. Like, Washington weed game, like recreationally, is from 2014. So like, y'all OGs in the game. You know what I'm saying? You should have already had this shit figured out. But now you don't. And what exists here is a difficult business market for cannabis, period. There's competition for people who have been established, and to become a brand like Fat Panda that everyone knows, you know what I mean? Regardless of the quality of the weed and how they take over places, like every consumer knows who Fat Panda is. To get that level of notoriety out here is work by a brand.
Or a work and like the proper pieces.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
from what I understand, like I don't know if he's a CFO or like he's one of the heads of the business, but he also worked for Pepsi. I mean, like on the same type of scope. Like, I mean, so he would have a pretty good standpoint on like proper logistics working for a global company like Pepsi. So if you like the money and the right pieces, like, I mean, you can do a lot.
Talk to him. So like what the person that they interviewed, it was Jim Mascos, the co-founder of a vape and extraction company called Lucid Lab Group, is like, will there be difficulty for these new licensees? Absolutely. It's competitive. Like, it's tough out here for everybody. And I'm trying to find this other piece of it. It's something was so heavy. Oh, it said the licensing process is a great way to ruin someone from becoming an entrepreneur for life. Right?
It's expensive. It's expensive. Yeah. It's excruciating. Like, they make sure it takes as long as it can, because like the more it's dragged out, the more money they could command for it.
That was Ryan, not the guy I quoted before. But his point here is that like what they're trying to lobby for is to let outside money come into Washington, because of how it's set up here. You have to have money from here, based here. You can't like get like how Florida did it, which is like MedMen came in from Cali and was like, oh, we'll set up these grow operations because Florida likes to scam folks. Right? You know what I'm saying? If you really want to talk about it, like Washington was like, nah. When we setting up, you got to be local. You got to money. They got to be Washington money.
Rhode Island setting it up like that also.
But because it has to be Washington money and it's so competitive out here, you need a lot of it. So where are you going to get those? Where are you going to get that source of funding from? And now you're going to throw people into that market to be fully established. These mom and pop places are folding up left and right. They're getting bought up. They're like dispensaries, all that easy. It's
even on the production and processing side. Majors, the drink major, they were just bought by Evergreen, which does pretty much all the other liquid edibles that you would have.
Boom. You see what I'm saying?
They got purchased up by them.
So it's dog eat dog out here, and you're like, oh, here, we're going to grant you some money. We're going to let you, build up all this money, because it has to be from here, to go into the application process to get messed up in this market, because people getting jumped and mollywopped.
Because honestly, they don't care about the success and failure of the business. No. They just want to be like, hey, we gave everybody a shot that you said wanted a shot. We gave them a shot.
Good. You look good. So do better, Washington. That's it. You should have done better. Do better, because I just want to know, like, who is this pool of applicants? And they did mention that meeting I went to in February about the LCB trying to figure it out. Either way, even though it goes into effect in June, this past June, it's probably delayed, and you're going to have to wait for them to develop a panel that is outside of the LCB board. So they have to nominate and vote people on these positions to be able to run that task force to deal with all of this social equity stuff. So yes, it exists. Woo! Wait for it. And keep in mind what we just told you about what's going on right now. All right? Because you're going to have more folks crying, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
Folks that ain't ready.
It's going to be a bigger tragedy than it was like initial one.
And Washington, Oregon, and Cali failed. They know OGs, and they failed in this when they first started it, which is why these officials are walking around like, why isn't it equitable? Why aren't more people of color here? Because you didn't set it up right in the first place, and you let people who had generational wealth, who had money, come through and run it how they wanted to. And those same people is not going to give up their power, and you don't even know who those folks are.
It's too far along at this point.
Exactly. You have no clue who they are, man. All right. What you got?
I just had something that like really hurt my heart when I seen it. But the Cali wildfires, as everybody knows or may not know, Northern Cali, they have a really horrible situation where the weather conditions are really dry, and the wildfires have started up. And in this, there's always loss of property. There's always loss. Like, we hope there not to be, but there's always some loss of life. But it hurts my heart to see that at least 4 cannabis farms have pretty much lost their whole entire farm to the Cali wildfires. And at the rate that it's moving, in the direction that it's moving in, there probably will be a few more, and not just cannabis farms, like maybe just regular farms, residents. So like my heart goes out to you guys, and I pray for rain.
Mm-hmm. Everybody go do those dances. Believe in it. We had a spit. I don't know. I'm not even going to go there, but 2020 been a year. If you've been feeling these things, so connect with the higher self. Just a bit. Talk to him. Mm-hmm. Y'all need some rain. Something else that caught my eye, which it caught my eye because someone reposted it. Not that I deleted myself from the shade room. I like it because it gives me news that I wouldn't get regularly, a perspective like Black Twitter, and it links me to drama that I just generally don't follow nor care about. But if I want to communicate, get indulged, like what's going on? What's the trashy stuff that they're putting online that's distracting folks? I want to be distracted right now. So usually friends repost it, and I clicked on it, and it was an article about cannabis. So I really was like, what y'all got to say about cannabis?
Ridiculousness.
And it was about cannabis and pregnancy, and I proceeded to read some of the dumbest shit. Like, it was 2 sides in the comments, because more so than what they're reposting, it's what people are saying about what they're reposting. I'm interested. It's sort of like people watching, but comment. Yeah. So like, it was two arguments, and I like what is his name? Waka Flocka said something like that's cap. and I was like, okay, cool, that got pinned. And mostly women were like, well, I used it during my pregnancy to help with my nausea. So the article itself was not just about cannabis and pregnancy, but a study recently dropped, a study done in Canada, where they focused on like a range from 2007 till a certain a decade of time of women who reported they used cannabis while pregnant, and kind of studied the results of the kids, well, the data, the information given, and then dropped an article saying that cannabis is associated with like autism. And so
ridiculous. And this is like ridiculous.
So folks was wilding the fuck out in these comments, okay? Let me just, I had to say that because I realized I didn't explain the dumb of the article that's reposted on Shade Room. And you think obviously folks would read it and say, okay, this is stupid.
That doesn't make sense. There's gotta be something else going on here. The way that study was conducted
was trash. Trash. And
but that leads right into the next article.
Oh, okay.
So FDA have created new guidelines, and they're opening lanes up for people to do research on cannabis. But
pharmaceutical company.
My thing is and that's heavily driven by pharmaceutical and other industries. Like heavily driven. And at the FDA, honestly, like the whole thing is like they're supposed to have like everyone's best health, and like this pretty much their job. Like that's what you guys do. But instead of letting universities like open it up for universities when universities have been asking for like the past decade, instead of opening it up for actual research facilities, I mean, that just want to see like if this actually does what they say it does. If it attacks cancer cells, you like say no to these guys, but pharmaceutical companies ask. And now there's a push. Now there's some guidelines changing, and they will be allowing certain companies to conduct studies.
Nice. That's great. But so these are medical studies, what I'm reading, that have already happened. So that article was I just want to, because I dove into that stupid article, I actually found an article published before this one. Both of these are published in journals of medicine. Well, one is journals of Nature Medicine, and the other one, let me read what, Frontiers in Psychology. So people who actually study the brain and how it functions decided to write an article before this one even dropped and was like, these all these other studies out there are like they're going based on the data, but they can't prove an association is not proving that it's a causative effect, like a cause effect situation. So and the data is saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the data itself is saying there will be variation amongst births. Like you neglected in one situation the environment the mother is in for maybe some of the causative effects and generationally on the child.
There's a lot of variance that they didn't take into consideration when
said,
collecting data. They just collected the data and was like, oh,
they don't know how much the moms consumed, when they consumed it during their pregnancy, the kind that they consumed. They just said, did you smoke weed when you were pregnant? And then a child, they judged an infant, you know what I mean, on, you know what I mean, a few other things on just because it's their records. They didn't actually like interview these kids over this time. I wish people would just read and like understand. I love science. I love it, and I love comprehension, and they're putting it in writing for you. So I'm going to share the link. It says using cannabis while pregnant does not impair children's cognition. Decades of studies suggest, and it's written by Janet Burns, and she talked to someone who worked with the researchers from Columbia University, the New York State Psychiatric Institute, and Swinburne University, and they found that prenatal cannabis exposure does not lead to cognitive impairment in children based on data from decades. Okay, so like, I just want you to understand what is happening, and the numbers that they made this stupid ass article about, and that Shade Room blew up, you know what I mean, was 0.3% of the study's results fell below the normal range, because it's a range. Your cognitive function, you know what I mean? Like if you're testing your IQ is a range. So if you're looking at, you know, me who got an 110 and someone who got an 85, well, it's on a range, so that we still fall into the scale of normal. It's just different. It's just so man, bro. I love that there were women out there responding like, no, I smoked with all my kids. They all are excelling, because the truth is that you're going to have different reactions, and you know, you have to decide for yourself whether or not you want to take that risk. But also be aware of like your past history and also your own cognitive abilities and functions. You know what I mean? Like genetics matter. That was another part of that article, to expect this child to excel when the mother maybe doesn't test high and the father maybe doesn't test high, and the environment is terrible. It's
like, what are the kids? What's the average test score at their school? Yes. Maybe the schools are like the weak link. Like there's a lot of variance. There's so many variants that they didn't account for to just make that conclusion.
And even the article that Shade Room quoted, they didn't even, like, when they captioned it, they could have captioned. I posted it. I was so upset as soon as I read that I went and read the article, and I was like, read through, and it's like, oh, cannabis is associated but not a causative effect. So you could have highlighted that shit and posted it in the caption of what you were talking about, but you just wanted to incite people to comment on it. Cool. I mean, I'm glad. Yeah, clickbait shit.
Clickbait, or as everyone, like as Waka Flocka would call it, cap. That's straight cap.
What else you got to talk about?
Next up has been one of my favorite topics, actually, in cannabis since the first time I heard about it at like MJ BizCon. A couple years back, I had seen that they were tracking. At first, it started off with DNA tracking.
Okay.
So they were spraying a substance which had like a, and like you can't even make this shit up, which had a traceable DNA. So they sprayed it with just some type of goo or fucking water that had some type of DNA. So it's just a traceability thing. So they could see like where this weed goes like at each step. They've taken it one step further with molecular tagging. So they're going into the plant on a molecular level and they're attaching like a molecule, like this design molecule to the weed to be able to track this weed from seed to consumer.
Yeah.
And our good friends at the FDA, they say that the molecule, like what they're adding to the weed, is safe for consumption. Excuse me.
How long have they been testing people consuming that?
This is pretty new. So
no.
So that's very weird that they're like, it's safe for consumption. It's so small of a molecule. It's safe for consumption.
I didn't. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna throw this back. How cannabis has helped me. I didn't take an interest in how crazy the government be acting until I found cannabis and found like the news surrounding cannabis to be so exciting. Then it made me want to go back and be like, well, if this is what's going on over here, then like, what's going on over here? You know? And so I tapped into the news like, oh, wow. You know, like, oh, wow. It's ridiculous. And this is why there are movements for growing your own food. And like, I've had so many conversations with cool people telling me like different farming techniques, like and who designed them. Out in Washington and farming, these nerds, they be doing some crazy shit, and not just farming of cannabis. Like I'm talking about like regular, like how to set your soil up that you barely have to water it.
Regenerative soil.
Yeah, and learning about
no-till method. And
So, man. Thank you, bro. Thank you, cannabis. If I could shake your hand right now. So grow your own shit, okay? The FPP, you see what they doing here. Everybody want to talk about it. They be conspiracy theories, but
no, it's real shit. The FDA made stevia, which just became legal recently. They made stevia illegal because there were interest, like politicians and lobbyists, interest in the other artificial sugars, like the chemically made artificial sugars. There were interested lobbyists for that, so they made stevia illegal, I believe, like 10 years back, and it just resurfaced this like last year, a couple years ago. They just rescheduled it. But that's
no, let's not get caught up. We want to get on air.
we're gonna have a little talk. Okay. We're gonna have a little talk with some Terps. You know what I mean? Terp talk. Today's Terp, we are gonna be talking about linalool. We had started talking about it last week and told me to save it, and I came back. with that spiciness, you know what I mean? Because it ranges from a spicy to a lavender.
Ooh.
And couple of strands that are high in linalool. Seattle Private Reserve lavender. What is it? Yeah, lavender. A very nice citrusy lavender, relaxing type of taste. Awesome for fucking like just trying to relax, kick back. A few other things linalool is really good for. I gotta pull up my terp benefits chart. Anti-exec, what's up?
I remember in my reading or in my studies that like some terps like to show up together often.
Yeah.
So like linalool, is it paired with something that like usually it works best with a citrus flavor?
Some linalool usually myrcene or
so it's more calming. It's usually like a citrusy and the effects is gonna chill you out.
Yeah, well, no, it's not citrusy. It's linalool is gonna be a spice to a floral
Oh,
Like
okay.
a lot of the floral, lilac, lavender is a very common flavor that you get in a lot of weeds. But it's really good. Anti-anxiety, antibacterial, anti-convulsive, antidepressant, antifungal, and also
think of lavender,
insomnia.
Think of like calming, like aromatics and stuff. Like put it together like that.
So this terp, that's the way, the language that this terp talks is more gonna be a more relaxed type of thing. Lavender, Skittles. I believe House of Cote d'Ivoire has a really, really, really amazing Skittles. Another strand. Blackberry Kush, I believe.
Word.
Blackberry Kush.
So it's definitely, man. I like flowers. Like that's why it has the name flower. You know what I mean? Because it has several reasons to be called a flower, but like certain ones smell so flowery. That's the dumbest statement, but for me, when I think about a flower, I think of like a sweet, like a certain kind of scent. You know what I mean? Like I don't like harsh flowery scents. I'm just telling you, I agree, and I like this terp top.
Word. Terp top.
We're gonna take a quick break.
The Bakersman Collective presents.
Yo, welcome back. We are going to throw it to the light up and listen section. So, what you been jamming on recently?
Recently, Nas just dropped a new mixtape, which is wild because I was just talking to this older cat and he's like, man, Nas hasn't dropped anything in a while. I'm like, yeah, he has, but whatever. And then he dropped this mixtape, so I get to drop this on the new, the old OG and show him that, like, my man still got it because it's a banger.
Yeah.
And not in like regular Nas fashion either. Like this shit has like crazy features on it.
Word? Features?
Yeah, a lot of features. Like you gotta check it out. I don't wanna ruin it. Like you just gotta. And the track layout, in my personal opinion, is like phenomenal.
Okay.
Like I think that's one of the most underrated things in music is track layout. Like the flow of it, like goes. You know what I mean? Like it's not like broken up. Like it goes, and like in Nas fashion. I mean, so that's just dope. And my man's Cole, he just dropped. Well, let's go back like a little while, but he dropped the EP. A couple tracks that he dropped. That shit was tight.
I heard it.
Lion King on Ice.
Huh?
Lion King, I thought that shit was dope.
I'm sorry. I have issues with Cole right now. So issues that I fucked up that hit. That's how bad I was. I want to get into it. Like he came at No Name unnecessarily. I feel like in his, I know it's just bars. I know he's rapping, but like, it's allegedly he came at No Name, the rapper. Do you know who she is? No.
I feel like I've actually heard some. I feel like I've heard.
Yeah, Shorty got bars. She got bars. I like her. I like her style. It's
wait, didn't they do a track together?
I think so. So, because I figured it was a proposed beef, probably made by people that heard it, but it was that song. You remember he dropped a couple songs before he dropped this Lewis EP?
Yeah.
It's one of those slower J. Cole where he's like talking like higher level, and I see some of the things he's saying. He was just saying maybe if you didn't sort of talk, maybe you're in a place of privilege of like your background where you came from, so maybe instead of talking down on people, like say it a little differently, or understand where they're coming from, because I'm just trying to understand, and I don't really know the history of the whole thing. Like maybe she said something before and blah 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 blah, and I'm glad they squashed it, but to me, I haven't listened to Cole the same since. And there has been a lot of other music that I would rather listen to instead of like hearing him critique other people in the hip hop game. You know, like just like kill it with his team. Like like that album, Revenge of the Dreamers 3.
Yeah, we need another one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. So just do something like that. I think that's a better use of your time. Burna Boy though dropped his I think it's his second studio album, but he has like 5 albums total, called Twice as Tall. The other one went for a Grammy, right? African Giant. And I fuck with Burna Boy heavy. So that album, to me, it was great. One of the...
You might have to check it out.
Also, Amine, he came back with a little...
He just dropped a mixtape, or was that an album?
I think it was a mixtape. For me, honestly, like, what's the difference? I stream them.
Yeah, I know. Don't get listened to the same way.
Yeah, exactly. So it's Limbo is what it's called, and it's great. Again, him being him, he kills the bars. I like how he plays with words. He gives a little bit of his life, so I think he's having a kid, which is cool. You know what I mean? Like, and I totally like the name because sort of where we were at was in limbo with this COVID-19. And did you use the time wisely now that we're about to crash right back down and have to get out there? So I thought it was cool. Check it out.
I have to check that one out too.
All right.
I seen it, but like I'm like,
how do you feel about it? Talk to me.
I seen it. I haven't listened to it. Like, but
did you listen to it?
I feel like he's a very interesting artist. Like there's
the
some of the shit that I'm like, yo, this shit's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to give it a listen. I've been stuck in I get in these ruts where it's just like East Coast music. I gotta remember there's a lot of other shit out there.
I've been talking about it for days on my Snapchat with personal friends, but like when you have access to things like iTunes that gives you music worldwide, Spotify that gives you even more music worldwide, and like Netflix that puts shows from other countries, like you can just broaden your horizon on your consumption. Like just give your brain other things to work on. Honorable mentions, Santino Le Saint. I saw him on Colors. It's a thing on YouTube. Really, really great. His voice is interesting. So either way, that wraps up our Light Up and Listen section. And it was dope that you took the time to have a J with us.
Until the next session.
Oh, remember.
I don't even. My phone died. I get it.
We're gonna start this over right quick. Okay. And a 1, and a 2, and it's dope you took the time to have a J with us.
Until the next session.
I'm done. That's
what you told me to say.
Yes. But it's so awkward right now because we both fucking blazed and shit.
Yeah, I'm smacked right now.
Yeah, man. Anyway, we're getting out of here. So holla at y'all.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm the video editor for these guys. And I guess it's my turn to tell you that we're just a few semi-functional potheads out here trying to bring light and truth about cannabis.